Let's go back a little bit. When you talk Sammy Sadler, you got to talk about the year 1989, kind of how everything changed there on Music Row, and how that kind of affected your faith a little bit too. Talk about a little of the cliff notes of the story and how everything changed for you from that day on.
Well, when I got out of high school in '84, I moved to Nashville in the winter, and I ended up getting a record deal. Within 6, 7, 8 months, I believe it was. Whenever we moved up there, but back in that time, they wouldn't just go in and cut albums on you. They would release singles to kind of see how your singles would do before they would decide whether they was going to put an album out on you. So from '85 to '89, I had six nationally charted records, but the song that really took off for me was the old Aaron Neville song, Tell It Like It Is. And whenever they put that out, that took off and was my fastest rising single. And so they started working on an album and working on the album that we'd already been working on, but didn't have it finished. So they started working on that. But in 1989, as that record was going up the charts, tragedy struck us on March 9, 1989. And my friend Kevin Hughes, who was a chart manager for Cashbox Magazine at the time, that was a rivalry to Billboard Magazine, he was shot and murdered. I was shot and left for dead. And it went around the world as a murder on Music Row, but it kind of ended my career there at the time.
Yeah, and you detail all this in your book. Came out a couple years ago. A Hit with a Bullet. Will there ever be
Yes.
a little bit of an update? I feel like there's some more stories that could go into that book.
Well, we're currently writing another chapter that's going to be going into the book and kind of reworking it and bringing back the book and kind of re-releasing it with this new chapter and everything that we're putting in it. But at the time of the shooting, Brandon, I didn't know Kevin and I had only known each other for about 7 or 8 months, and I feel like as time would have went on, we'd have become really good friends and maybe lifelong friends. There's just people sometimes you meet in your life that you kind of feel like that, and I kind of felt like that with Kevin, but I didn't know it at the time, and I found out after the shooting and everything that Kevin was a Christian, and the night we got shot, I wasn't. And God saved me and thought enough of me and picked me up out of millions of people out here and gave me a second chance at life and saved my life, and I'm just thankful for that.
Is there a chance sometime in the future we ever get Sammy Sadler a hymn project or some Christian music coming out there too?
Well, I recorded an album back in 2009 that got released on Koch E1 Entertainment, and it had a couple of gospel songs and feeling songs on there. As a matter of fact, I co-wrote a song on that album called "Thank God" that me and Jerry Cupid and Jimmy Carr all co-wrote, and that was a song giving thanks to God. If you listen to it, thank God he was there, or I wouldn't be here. And that goes for so many people out here in their lives. If you've had something happen to you, or somebody that's had something that's happened to them and they're still here and they survived something or they came through something. Sometimes we always think, well, man, I got through this and I got through that. Man, you didn't get through anything without Jesus Christ. He's the one that saves you and brings you through everything that you go through, and he's the one that gives us breath. And so many people, including me at the time, I always thought I, and it's nothing about I, it's all about him. He's the one that allows us to do and go through everything that we go through. And I'm just so thankful that I'm still here and I'm able to do and pursue a career that I started so long ago.
Yeah, we got the new music coming out. Will we get some new tour dates? What's the tour plans for the rest of the
Yeah,
year?
we like I said, we got the album finished and now we're starting to work on a new tour called the Hits and History Tour. And that's going to have myself and Dave Gibson. And if you're not familiar with Dave Gibson, he was the front man for the Gibson Miller Band back in the early 90s. And they had some hit records. And then his partner, Blue Miller, ended up passing away a few years later. And Dave, if people don't know who Dave Gibson is, go and look him up because he has wrote some of the most iconic records in country music, like Jukebox in My Mind for Alabama, If It Don't Come Easy for Tanya Tucker, Ships That Don't Come In for Joe Diffie. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And I'm so grateful to know Dave. And I met him when I was 18 years old. And for us to come together and put this together. It's kind of like a full circle moment, and we're excited to get everything going and get the shows out there, and hopefully come see the people across the towns.
Yeah, sounds like a fun one. So if that one's coming near you, go check that out. And then the new single will be out this Friday. Could be out already, depending on when you're watching this, when the algorithm has thrown it at you. July
Yeah.
18th. If it is past then, go look up Sammy Sadler on Spotify and all your streaming services, and that'll be out there for you.
Yeah, man, go share it with your friends and tell everybody about it, and keep up with us on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and my website at sammysadler.com. And if anybody would like an autographed copy of my book, A Hit with a Bullet, you can get it at sammysadler.com, and we'll be glad to autograph that to them and get it to them. Otherwise, if you're not really a great reader and you like to listen, you can get it on Audible or Amazon, or order it in any of your bookstores.